In 2012, an 18-year-old young man emerged with just one idea. Nobody predicted he would rally millions behind him, creating America's most powerful youth movement. This is Charlie Kirk's story. And this story could change your life too. Charlie Kirk was an ordinary student at Harper College. Every morning he sat at the same table in the same cafeteria, attended the same classes, listened to the same lectures. But he was different from other students. He had a big idea in his head. "Charlie, you're dreaming too much," his roommate Tom would say. His friends constantly told him, "This won't work, Charlie. You're just a college student." His professors would laugh and shake their heads when they heard his political ideas. But they hadn't yet seen that determination in Charlie's eyes, that burning fire inside him. Every night, at 18 years old, sitting in his small dorm room at his old computer, he would write for hours. In those silent nights filled with keyboard sounds, Charlie was making plans that would change America's future. What he wrote that night seemed like just a college student's dreams, but they were actually manifestos that would forever change America's youth politics. Young people aren't being silenced, they just can't find a platform to speak, he had written that night. This sentence would become the turning point of his life. Turning point. Charlie had chosen this name after hours of thinking. He had tried dozens of names in his notebook: Youth Revolution, Conservative Voice, Student Freedom, but none of them felt right. "What turning point, Charlie?" his roommate Tom had asked. "You're just a college student. Nobody will listen to you." His other friends said the same things. "Charlie, you're too idealistic. The real world doesn't work like this." But Charlie had a clear vision in his mind. This isn't just an organization, he thought. This will be a movement. It was at this exact moment that something unexpected happened in Charlie's life. He had posted on social media for his first event, hung posters, informed his friends. He thought 50 people would come. He was excited, nervous, but ready. That evening when he entered the small conference hall, what he saw broke his heart. Only 7 people had come, and 3 of them were friends who came reluctantly. When Charlie took the stage, he felt his hands trembling. His throat was dry. Maybe they were right, he thought for a moment. Maybe this won't work. But what he said that evening would change everything. "Free speech is dying," Charlie told that small crowd. His voice was trembling but determined. "On campuses, in media, on the streets, they're trying to silence our voices. They're trying to suppress our ideas." Looking at that crowd of 7 people, he saw something changing in their eyes. Interest, curiosity, maybe even anger. "I'm telling you," Charlie continued, now gaining confidence, "this generation will not stay silent. This generation will not surrender." One of those 7 people, a girl named Sarah sitting in the back, was recording a video with her phone. She didn't know the importance of this moment. She was just recording to show her friend. The speech ended. There was applause from 7 people. It was weak applause, but sincere. Charlie felt defeated walking home. 7 people, he thought. Only 7 people. When that video hit the internet, you haven't seen the biggest surprise yet, the biggest change of his life. The next morning when Charlie woke up, he had 47 missed calls on his phone. His heart felt like it would stop. What's happening, he thought. The video Sarah had recorded started spreading on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. 5,000 views in 2 hours, 15,000 in 6 hours, 30,000 in 12 hours. Within 24 hours, the video was watched 50,000 times. Charlie's phone kept ringing. His email inbox was full. His social media accounts were exploding with messages. But what was most shocking was that among all those messages, among all those callers, was the identity of one particular person. Charlie looked at his phone with trembling hands. The number wasn't familiar, but seemed important. "Hello, Charlie. This is..." The voice on the phone sounded familiar, but Charlie couldn't trust his ears. This was a voice he constantly heard on TV, on radio. "This is William Bennett. I was Secretary of Education. Now I'm a radio host." Charlie's jaw dropped. William Bennett, one of America's most well-known conservative figures, was calling him. "I saw the speech you gave, son. It was very impressive. Such clarity, such determination at this age, things I've rarely seen in my 30-year career. Charlie's heart was beating so fast he couldn't speak. Would you work with us, Charlie? On my radio program, in our organization. You're very talented. You shouldn't miss this opportunity. Charlie was 18 years old, still a college freshman, and one of America's most powerful people was offering him a job, proposing partnership. Was this a dream? But Charlie's answer would surprise even the experienced politician on the other end of the phone, catching nobody off guard. There was a long silence. Charlie took a deep breath. "No," he said. His voice was clear and determined. "I will continue on my own path." Bennett on the phone was surprised. In his 40-year career, he hadn't received such a rejection, especially from an 18-year-old young man. "Charlie, this is a big opportunity. You're still very young, inexperienced. You can't do anything alone in this world. If you work with us, you'll learn. You'll grow." "Mr. Bennett," Charlie said, respectfully but determinedly, "I have great respect for you. You're a great man. But I don't want to be just someone's assistant, someone's shadow." The silence on the phone prolonged. "I know this is a big opportunity," Charlie continued, "but I don't want to be just a follower. I want to be a leader. I want to be the person who starts change, not the one who adapts to change." There was admiration in Bennett's voice. "You're a very interesting young man, Charlie. I hope you won't regret this decision." "I won't," Charlie said. "Thank you for this opportunity." What happened 3 hours after that phone call ended would change Charlie's fate, his future forever. Charlie sat in his dorm room thinking. He looked out the window, watching the students on campus. Did I make the right decision? He wondered. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe this was my only chance. His roommate Tom came in. "Charlie, are you crazy? William Bennett offered you a job and you rejected it? Don't you realize what this means?" Charlie was about to say something. Just then there was a harsh knock on his door. Knock, knock, knock. An official knock. Charlie went to the door, opened it. What he saw made him freeze. The university dean, Dean Harrison, was there. He wore a suit with a serious expression. 2 security guards stood beside him. Behind him was the university's legal advisor. "Charlie Kirk," Dean Harrison said in a cold voice, "we are stopping your activities. We no longer allow turning point activities at this university." Charlie's world suddenly spun. What do you mean?" "You know very well what I mean, young man." "Why?" Charlie asked. His voice was trembling but not angry. He just couldn't understand. "What did I do?" "I just spoke. I just shared my ideas." Dean Harrison looked with a rigid expression. "You're dividing students into camps, Charlie. You're creating polarization on campus. This is contrary to this university's values, culture." "Which values?" Charlie asked. "The value of free speech? The value of freedom of thought? Or are only the thoughts you approve of free?" One of the security guards stepped forward. "Young man, don't talk to the dean like that." Charlie was hurt. He was being punished just for sharing his ideas. He had never felt such injustice in his 18 years of life. "If you continue these activities," Dean Harrison said, "we will initiate all necessary legal proceedings, including suspension from the university. Let me speak clearly, Charlie. You are now an unwanted student here." Charlie's world had collapsed. The university, the institution where he studied, was banning his activities, didn't want him. The door closed. Charlie was left alone in his room. Charlie couldn't sleep that night. He lay in bed looking at the ceiling, thinking. But the decision Charlie made that night, in those dark hours, would change not only his own life, but even American history. Charlie couldn't sleep that night. He lay in his bed, looking at the ceiling, trying to make the hardest decision of his life. Morning came. Charlie got up, looked in the mirror. There was a different determination in his eyes. He had made his decision. He would quit university. "Charlie, are you crazy?" his roommate Tom screamed when he heard the news. "Have you lost your mind? Are you going to quit your education halfway? What will your parents say? What will happen to your future?" His other friends gave the same reaction. Sarah called, Charlie, this is a huge mistake. You're very talented, but you can't do anything in this world without a diploma. His family went crazy. His mother was crying. His father was angry. We faced so many difficulties to send you to school, Charlie. You're destroying all our hopes. But Charlie was determined. I didn't come to university to get an education, he told his friends, family, himself. I came to change my life, to change the world. If they don't allow it here, I'll do it somewhere else. And that brave decision he made that day, while seeming to close doors for him, would actually cause completely different doors to open. Charlie Kirk officially founded Turning Point USA in the fall of 2012. His first office was the damp basement of his mother's house. Water dripped from the ceiling, electricity went out. There was no heating. His first employee was himself. His first salary was $0. His first budget was $200 his mother gave him. Charlie, what are you doing down there? His mother would ask. You sit at that computer all day, talking on the phone. Mom, I'm changing America's future, Charlie would say. But an unquenchable fire burned inside Charlie. Every morning when he went down to that basement, he had the same sparkle in his eyes. This organization won't just be a university club, he would tell himself. This will be a movement that changes America's future. This will be a platform that gives voice to millions of young people. The first months were hard. Most days nobody called. No emails came. Sometimes Charlie would sit in that silent basement and think, did I make a mistake? But every time he would remember that first speech, that crowd of 7 people, that viral video, and he would continue. When the numbers were announced at the end of the first year, everyone who had rejected him, everyone who had belittled him, couldn't believe it. In 2013, Turning Point USA had chapters at 7 universities. In 2014, 50 universities. In 2015, 150 universities. By 2016, the number had exceeded 500. The media was now following Charlie Kirk. Who is this young man? They were asking. But the real shock would happen in 2017. Charlie Kirk was now 24 years old. Turning Point USA was active in more than 1,000 universities across America. He had millions of followers on social media. Mainstream media described him as the voice of American youth. The movement that started from that small dorm room was now affecting millions of young people. But Charlie's real dream hadn't come true yet. In 2018, Charlie Kirk received an unexpected invitation. From the White House, the president wanted to meet with him. Charlie remembered that small dorm room, his mother's basement, his first rejected event. What happened at the White House was, Charlie, the president said, you can reach American youth. Would you work with us? Charlie remembered the phone call from 6 years ago. He had received such a big offer then too and had rejected it. This time his answer was different. Yes, Charlie said, but I have conditions. I'm not your employee, Charlie said. I'm your partner. Turning Point USA's freedom will be preserved. The president was surprised. A 25-year-old young man was setting conditions for him. Agreed, Charlie, he said and extended his hand. What happened after that handshake? Today, Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA has become America's largest conservative youth organization. It operates in more than 2,000 universities, reaches millions of young people every year, changes their lives, gives them a voice. Charlie Kirk had reached the age of 30, but he was still living the dreams of that 18-year-old young man, working with that young man's energy. Every morning when he woke up, he remembered that night in the small dorm room. That first event with 7 people came to his mind. Sometimes I think, Charlie would say, what if I had given up that night? What if that video hadn't gone viral? What if I had accepted Bennett's offer? Then he would smile, but it didn't happen. And I'm here. In September 2025, an event occurred that deeply shook America. Charlie Kirk lost his life as a result of an armed attack. With the spread of the news, a great silence prevailed in the country. Both his supporters and opponents saw the same truth. Charlie had left an indelible mark on America's youth. His sudden death was not just a political loss, it was also a turning point for millions of young people. His friends, family, and fellow travelers said, "Charlie's body has left us, but his ideas will not die." After Charlie Kirk's death, thousands of young people took to the streets. They had banners reading, "Thank you, Charlie," in their hands. Employees at Turning Point USA offices were crying, but they were also determined. "Charlie's legacy will continue to live," said the organization's new leader. "He didn't just leave us an organization. He left us a spirit, a belief, a movement." Today, the movement Charlie Kirk started in that small dorm room is still growing. New young people join every day, voices rise on new campuses every day. That 18-year-old young man had started with just one idea. Today, that idea touches millions of hearts, changes millions of lives. Charlie Kirk is no longer with us, but his legacy, his dream, his struggle continues. What about you? What legacy will you leave? What dream will you fulfill? If an 18-year-old young man could change the entire world, what can you accomplish?